And then sometimes I would let them in, and my mom was just surprised because my mom knew I was drunk, and I would pass the cops, like, no, I'm not drunk. And that's how much I drank, to where an officer would look at me and go, yeah, he's fine. He's not drunk at all, or not that drunk. And they test me and I'm like 0.538, and it's like, oh my God, like, how is that possible? But, so I don't think I ever put anybody through that to where I was like, hey, help me. Wait, let me throw on the brakes. No, don't help me. Mm-hmm. I need one more drunk, or, I need to use one more time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reflecting on that the other day too, as well. I kind of had the same situation as you did the day prior. And it was a real emotional roller coaster for me. And I was dealing with a lot of things, like, kind of in a row. And it started off, all right, I'll tell you the story. It started off, I got a phone call from someone that is struggling, and it's an individual that I've known for a while. I consider her a good friend. And she has reached out to not only me, but you as well, Corey, before. And it kind of was that, you talk through things to get her so far. You're taking in what she's saying, you're responding to, her words, and basically, you both are on the same page up until a certain point. And then it reaches that, let's do something about this. And sometimes we'd get farther than others in terms of figuring out where she was going to call to go, where she was willing to go, and we'd get that far, and then for whatever reason it would fall through. So once again, yesterday, or day before yesterday rather, got that to that point, and actually kind of we overcame that last little piece. Was she made the phone call, she got accepted, and it was to get her there. And she had also reached out to another individual that we're close to, who's in the program, and she's doing well. And so there was this team of us kind of collaborating, with her, and this is all via phone. So that made it a little more, difficult, but got her with the agreement that, she was going to go to treatment or to detox, and then hopefully follow up with treatment after. And then all of a sudden it just came to this screeching halt, and, it was, I'm not going to go. And she says, I can't do this. I'm not worth it. And, it was painful, to hear that, her say those words, because I've been her. I've felt like that before. Now, like you, I never have actually gotten to the point where I've agreed to treatment, got it set up, and then backed out. So that's something that I hadn't done, but that's no different than, all of the other leading up to it, admitting that I needed help, planning on getting help, and then not following through. So that being said, the conversation didn't end well. Actually, it just didn't end really at all, except for the fact that she hung up the phone on me, and I was upset. And I followed up with a text and just said, I love you. I hope you find your way there. And she wanted another drunk. She wanted another night at least. And even if that, who knows what if that would have been another night and another night and another night. But I didn't have it in me to try to figure that out, because I had done everything that I could. And so had everyone else that was involved. So, anyhow, I found myself extremely in this weird spot because I was crying and I couldn't really figure out what exactly I was crying about. I knew that I was sad for her, that she wasn't gonna go into detox, and that she was still sitting somewhere doing the same thing she'd been doing, drinking, and feeling like she's feeling. And I kind of, so it started off me kind of wallowing in her pain, I guess. And then from that, it turned into this anger, this weird resentment of like, you know, I talked to you on the phone and we worked through this together and we got you to this spot where, you know, you were supposed to, you know, reach that next step of possibility of you know, getting back on track. And, you know, my time and my emotions and my this, that, and the other. And so I was bitter. I was mad. And then it was turned into this weird, even different sadness where I started really kind of taking it apart and looking at it, stepping back and kind of looking at what had just happened and what I was feeling, and realized that I was in a position that I had put other people in countless times while I was drinking. And the pain that I was feeling at that moment was the pain that I put on so many other people that I cared about so many other times. And I didn't think twice about it when it was actually happening because I couldn't, you know, and that's where she was at, you know, the day before yesterday. And I was feeling those feelings that those people felt when I did that to them, and that hurt. And so I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm crying because I'm mad at myself. You know, I'm crying because I'm upset that I made so many people upset. And so it was a really emotional moment and realization. And so what do? I get on my phone and I text my mother. And because she's one of those people that I had done that to. And I've said it before, and I kind of was like, I basically just told her the whole thing of what was going on with me and what I was feeling at that moment and how I was, realizing all of these emotions and what have you. And I said, I texted her and I said, I just have one question for you. And then I stopped and I texted, I said, how did you do it? How did you just wrap your head around, having to be okay with, me and how I was just like a total mess, and there was nothing she could only do so much. And then it was up to me. And if I wasn't going to get help, then I wasn't going to get help. And, and she just said, let go and let God. And she said, I know it sounds easier, than it actually is, but just hold on and pray about it. And she said, then she said that she was proud of me and that, to keep doing what I was doing. So that was like a huge thing for me, a huge moment. And in my personal recovery is to be able to feel those feelings, to be able to pick things apart and really look at them and how far I've come. And so, yeah, it was a really, really emotional day for me the other day. So
it's like we still need the people that, like you said, you reached out to your mom. Like, how'd you do it? Like, we still need their help and guidance. Like, hey, look, we put you through this. Or I like to put it as I trained, or I gave my mom life skills, lots of them. And now, like, I'll be calling her because I thought about that too. We both kind of, and I don't know how that woman is similar to you. I mean, you know how in the way she is, the way she's not, but with the guy that I helped, I mean, it was like, I like to joke around and I will say stuff, when I got the person to the detox, and he's like, the lady asked, do you want to be here? And he said, no, I don't want to be here. I want to go home. He he meant that, he'd already said that he would never come back there again. He'd already made up his mind that he was never going to drink again, and so, no, he didn't want to be there. And yeah, he would rather go home. It was like a joke, kind of, almost. But the lady was like, well, if you don't want to be here, leave. And I'm like, no. He wants to be here. And then I said something that, as I said it, I thought, oh, that was weird. I said, no, when we say we don't want to ever be here again, it's because we've already told ourselves we aren't coming back here. And she's like, oh, yeah, I get it. But I just, that whole we, we're the same people. Like, we're the same group of people, and I don't know when I said that. And I don't know if the person that was checking them in, a lot of people that work at recovery treatment centers are in recovery themselves. Not everybody, but majority. Some, yeah. So I don't know if she's in recovery or not, but I am, and it's just like, I just threw that out there, no, like for us, like, I was like, hey, these are my people, and for us to say that, no, we don't want to be here, and we don't, we wish that first drink had never been picked up, is kind of what he was referring to. But to go handle someone that's pretty similar to me, really hit home to what I probably did put a lot of people through, just with the smart assness, with the, everything about him, is kind of similar to how I've handled situations in the past, whether it be when my mom would be like, oh, I'm not going to use the swear word she would use, but she said I was always hitting on the nurses. And, like, I really don't think I was. But I don't really remember. So, who knows? But she's like, oh, it was so GD embarrassing. And now she's going to say she never used the word GD. But, Mom, I love you, though. And the things that I did put you through happened for a reason. And I'm glad that I can make you stronger and a much more brighter woman. Not every woman in this world had that opportunity, Mom. So, pat yourself on the back. You did a great job. And glad I could help you through it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't. That's what I basically was just like I broke down to her, and I was like, just thank you for everything, and for sticking with me. There's a lot of people that I'd like to say that, or I have said that to, and continue to say it to. It's not like it's they stood by me at my in my darkest moments. And that's an amazing thing to be able to, to still be able to talk to the people that did, and to prove to, and by being sober today, is a way to pay them back, I guess, if you want to say that in that way. Kind of weird to say it like that. But I will follow up with better news, is that I heard from that individual today. And, that she is actually in detox now. So, like, wow, how about that? Because I knew from listening to Corey yesterday that this is something I was going to talk about, and it was still unresolved, and so, which was going to be fine. But then that happens, and God stepped in, and that phone call came, and I talked to her, and she is currently, as far as I know, last I knew, I had also spoken with an individual that was taking her there, so I'm pretty confident that she made it, and she's in detox. And so, between God and her, being strong enough to get to the point where she would walk through those doors, and whoever else was on her team on that end, God bless them as well, because she's doing it, and hopefully she'll take it to treatment, and and one day at a time for her. So I want to say props to her. Yeah,
good job.
Thanks.
If she'll ever listen to this, who knows?
Who knows?
Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. But if someone is going through that, or maybe they've done that to you, or maybe you've done that to them. I guess you wouldn't do it to the same person. Either, I don't know, maybe you have. But here's what I'm trying to say, though. If someone's doing that to you right now, just hang in there. You know, don't get so frustrated. And that's one thing